Hello everybody and welcome back to the Tanso Racing Group's GR86 UK Cup here from Oulton Park. It's time for round number 3 as we've already been to Brands Hatch and Donington. Time for races 5 and 6 in our championship. It's myself, Ian Leary, and Dean Biggles alongside me again. We have removed one of the chicanes. The Britain chicane is no more. Well, it isn't no more. It's still there. But we're just not using it. And then we are making that run all the way down in towards Hislops. With also including the hairpin you can see on to the right-hand side of a track map there. We're using a pretty long layout of Oulton Park here. Lap times in the 1:45s as things stand. It's good to be back alongside you again, Biggles, for this round of the championship. It's going to be exciting once again. We've had a great start to the season and another huge field for us to enjoy here at Oulton Park. I think I've counted earlier, around 30 drivers signed up for this one.
Exactly. Welcome, everybody. We already had Claire out there. So go, Sean. You got this. Wait, you got this. As she said. Exactly. It's Oulton Park Elephant. That's what it is, because if you look at the track map, mate, it's an elephant.
It does look a bit like an elephant, doesn't it?
Certainly is.
Now I think about it.
So how's those championship standings going, my friend? Because all the gladiators are out in the field undergoing their qualifying session.
Yeah, we'll just talk about them, but before we get into that, Scott McFall is leading the way, as you may be unsurprised to learn. He is, what's that, 52 points ahead of Mark Proctor, and considering he's only on 177, that's a very big margin indeed. Mark Brown is in third place at Peter Woodmore. Jack Holland made some real gains in last week's event. He's now fifth ahead of Peter Duke and Alan McCain, Andy White, Neil Kennedy and Dan Forster. So that's the top 10. I won't go through all of them because there are already 32 drivers who have scored points so far this season, which is actually quite a lot. So as I won't go through all of them. But Scott McFall's leading the way, and that's no surprise to anybody, really. We know from the TVG series earlier this season, this iRacing season, I should say, that he's a very strong driver, and he's been very strong so far this season as well, finishing first on 3 occasions out of 4 so far.
3 out of 4 ain't bad, as they say. So that'll be very interesting to see Mark Brown setting a little bit of a purple sector there. But at the moment, this man that we're following on board with riding shotgun is the man that's setting the quickest lap at the moment, 145.88. And will he set to beat that right currently at the moment with Mark Brown looking to improve? So this will be very, very interesting in the Trumpet track as he starts another lap. G'day, Baz, out there. Good evening to you, my friend. Morning, evening, wherever you are in the neck of the woods.
Indeed. We are just around 10 minutes away from the end of qualifying, or around 7.5, I should say. We're about halfway through now. And Scott McFall is unsurprisingly on the top of the standings, 0.2 of a second ahead of Mark Brown in the qualifying standings as things stand. Neil Kennedy's there as well. Jeremy Ullemans wasn't here last week, but he's up to 4th place in qualifying right now. White, who's gone back to the pit lane, as everybody, some of them at the back anyway, trying to get a lap in for the first time. Terry Atkinson about to make his way over the line, just ahead of Tim Walters for the first time this session. Well, it's not the first time, sorry, but it would be his first lap time validated on the board if he can get one, and he does. Goes up to oh no, he doesn't, excuse me, Tim Walters does though. He's in 18th place. It'd be a little bit worrying now then for Terry Atkinson, who's still not got a time with only just over 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely correct. Look at that perfect driving temperatures, 19 degrees Celsius track temperature, and not too much of a wind to affect anything. It's certainly not British weather, I'll tell you that right now.
That's for sure. We are, of course, at a fixed in-sim date in the spring, so it should be a lot nicer. Although, because it is early in the morning, 8:20, and the time is frozen, so we won't be seeing any evolution there. The temperatures are down as well, which is a good thing for these tyres, and a good thing for the times as well, probably, and how quickly they're going to end up going in this race. Is anybody really improving here? Looking at the bottom of your screen, of course, green denotes a personal best sector and purple a overall best of anybody. And at the moment, we're not seeing very many greens or purples coming through here. It's very, very difficult to improve now that we're nearly 10 minutes into the session.
Sean, I'd say, sorry you're not here, Baz. Shame you're not, Ilsa. And, well, Sean is currently in pit road. And Sean, mate, well, you have a bit of a chin wagon to us. You're in P13, make that P14 now, as Andy, one of the drivers, has just improved actually to knock you down, but don't worry about it. It's not a Formula One shootout for multiple qualifying stages. You still have a bit of time to get out there and put a couple of banker laps in. Who would you like to ride on board and give us a lap guide around here from the man himself, Ewan?
I mean, I suppose Terry Atkinson's just coming over the line. As long as he carries on, he might be a good one to go on board with. Just he's starting a lap here. Looks like he is continuing on as well. So let's continue with him. The AM champion, of course, from the TVG series earlier this season. Right-handed at turn 1, first of all. Committed opening corner, then down the hill at Cascades. Trying to get the apex here as well, if you can. And then the run down the straight. This is not the longest straight on the circuit, but it would be if we were using the Britain chicane. So it is quite an important run on the way towards turn 4, which is Island Bend. You don't want to run too wide here, otherwise you'll find yourself in the grass and you go careering forward straight into someone probably. This is the Banks right-hander of turn 5. Difficult-ish corner, but as long as you stay down low on the banking, then you should be okay. Then you've got the long run round the right-hander here and no chicane this time round. That should help overtaking in the race at a circuit where it's traditionally pretty difficult to overtake. Then down in towards turn 10 and then Hislops at 11, or as it would be 10 and 11 if we were using the chicane. Avoiding the tyre walls important here at that first part, and then getting the run out of here pretty important as well. Through Knickerbrook, it is extremely important to get the run because you're uphill, as well as the fact that it is a long run anyway. You're also working against gravity. Then in towards the double right-hander of turn 15. This is Druid's corner. Atkinson just misses the apex slightly there, although he grabs the second one, and he doesn't run too far out wide. That is where you can get an off-track if you are not too careful as well. Then into the final corner, which is pretty simple, 90 degrees, a little bit tighter than that. Oh, and he just gets it wrong right at the very end there through turn 16. So it's over the crest there and pretty difficult to control on occasion. And as you can see there, it's not easy to spin, but you can certainly spin out the final corner as you've just seen.
That's Ewan's first commentating curse of the day, and we haven't even got into the race yet. So it's on him, mate. Out there, blame him. He's done it, as we heard on the Chase Cam. Claire's out there, say Baz, feel for you. And Sean, you got to try though. Yeah, Sean currently P16, so we're just reading the chatter. Well, Bazzy, give us your predictions out there, mate. Who do you think is going to win this race? Seeing you had a chance this evening to get out there and participate with them, I'd like your you can be our Ted down there in pit lane and give us all the feedback as well, too, from a driver's perspective, Ewan.
Exactly. Yeah, it's quite rare that we get an actual driver's perspective. We harp on about these things from time to time, but we're not drivers after all. We're just watchers, observers, if you like. So it is a little bit different. Not too many green times coming through now, and not too many purples either. Not seeing anybody really improve out there at the moment as Mark Brown makes his way over the line. That's the drive we're following in. Dan Wareham, though, does jump up. That's 10th place for Dan Wareham. So he makes a good gain there to make himself into the top 10. And so does Peter Woodmore. There we go. Nice time from him. Nice. That'll be the end of his session now, though.
Yeah, good. That'd be good to see. Get himself nicely slotted in halfway in the top 10. Tim's on a flyer. Lee's on a flyer. Let's have a look at Lee. He'll be crossing the line very soon. If he did improve or not on that one.
Let's see here. For everybody at the end of this session, we've got currently 15 drivers covered by less than a second. It's absolutely fantastic to see for the series and for the racing indeed as well. But I do always wonder, and I always say it with this circuit, how difficult is it going to be to overtake? I suspect it is going to be very difficult, actually, in the race to overtake, even with that chicane taken out early on the back straight, of course.
Yep, let's have a look. Scott Brown has improved or not. Scott McFall's back out track. He looks like he's going to be improving too much. Adrian Hatfield should be crossing the line in, well, he needs to improve a little bit if he possibly can. Well, we got a little bit of feedback out there. Bazzy says, going to be tight in the midfield, but Scotty will run away with it here. All right. And Mike out there says, gutted. Really? He always had pace. So, damn you, SimLab. So, there must be something I'm not quite sure. You can elaborate on that one. Is SimLab causing some issues with you guys?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
The SimLab software. I presume that's oh, you know that, yeah. The overlays. Well, of course you know, mate.
What would have gone wrong is what I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Jeremy?
Jeremy Ullerman's, meanwhile, makes his way over the line. And does he improve? He only needs half a tenth to get ahead of Neil Kennedy. Doesn't look like he has found half a tenth there. No, he lost a lot of time somewhere, even though he was going personal best in some of the sectors. Well, that looks like it is just about it for qualifying, and we're, as a result, not far away from getting into the race then in the GR86 UK Cup here at the Tanso Racing Group. Let's have a look at the grid, ready for the 20-minute opener of this race.
Yes, sir.
It will come up in a few moments' time. We're just waiting for the session to actually start, and then we'll be ready. Scott McFall takes pole. There was a smaller margin this time ahead of Mark Brown, with Neil Kennedy and Jerry Ullerman sharing row 2. It's Peter Woodmore and Harry Price on row 3 ahead of Scott Brown and Andy White. Peter Duke and Jack Holland are next ahead of Dan Wareham and Craig Corrish, who round out the first 6 rows. 13th place is Dan Forster, who, of course, has a win this season already. He's the only other driver to have won other than Scott McFall. Mark Proctor's alongside him with Lee Ryans and Dave Collier next. It's Sean Atkinson and Rick Wishon, 17th and 18th, but have Aidan Hepburn and Bradley Lovings who round out the top 20, with Alan McCann and Tim Walters next to Michael Vester and Terry Atkinson. It is Michael Walters and Lucas Kotlinski who are sharing row 13 ahead of John Johnson and Curtis Matthews, with Michael Champlin and Clyde Cunfer rounding out the field. They are all there ready and waiting, nearly. We are almost ready to go here in the race. We're just waiting for Craig Corrish and Bradley Lovings, who always takes ages to get onto the grid. I've no idea what he does between qualifying and the race, but it takes him nearly the full 2 minutes.
For a relief break or something like that. We'll see. Yep, so thank you very much. We got rid of that on the overlay sponsor. That is no more a sponsor. So we'll get ready for our Heat 1. As you said, they're all lining up. I'm just waiting on the Bradley. He's just jumping back over the fence, back into his vehicle, hopefully, anytime soon there. He's lining up on P20 on the grid, but everybody else is stacked and ready to go. Will Scotty dominate this race, or will Mark Senmont the inside there and take commanding lead, perhaps, of Heat 1?
If he's going to have a chance of winning this race, then Mark Brown might well need to get up the inside in towards turn of 1, as you say. Let's see what happens, though, in the next round of the GR86 UK Cup here from the Tanso Racing Group. The lights go out now, and we are underway. It is a good start from Scott McFall. There's going to be no dive from Brown this time round. Kennedy is going to get in behind as well into the slipstream here. It's side by side for 4th place between Peter Woodmore and Jeremy Orlemans. They make their way through turn 1, hopefully cleanly, as they get through now in the top half. Okay, what about the rest of them? It looks like a clean start from everybody, and that's fantastic to see as they go down the hill at Cascade for the first time. Scott McFall holds on to his lead, and the rest of the top 5 gets single file in behind him.
Brilliant work for the drivers to realise you're not going to win it on the first lap in the first corner by making mistakes. So they file in a couple of gains, couple of losses for some of the drivers, but the top 3, no change. As you see the brilliant camera angle here, sweeping around the paperclip hairpin.
It's a very difficult corner indeed. If you just brake a bit too late, you'll get yourself in the outside wall. And Rick Wishon has found himself exactly there, although it wasn't, by the looks of things, only a solo mistake. Let's see on a replay in a few moments' time, of course, once things have calmed down a little bit as they make their way down in towards turn 10 for the first time. It's McFall who still leads, and he holds on the way down towards the chicane. Could be one of the better overtaking chances on this lap down into the chicane. Let's see what happened, though, to Rick Wishon, who looked up the inside here. A bit of contact. And I think he got turned across slightly there by whoever that was on the outside line. That was not particularly ideal, but he is the only victim of that opening sector of the lap, and he's dropped right the way down to 30th.
Yeah, he got doored and turned a little bit there, but that's what happens when you have a couple of cars there and they're side by side. A little bit of a blinker in the background. Hopefully that won't affect anything too much, but there it is at the moment. That's Harry starting to chase down, my apologies, Peter Woodmore starting to chase down Neil, and that top 3 is starting to build a little bit of a gap, a commanding gap already, mate.
Yeah, the top 2 are getting away from Neil Kennedy, I think, is the real pertinent thing here, up towards the front right now. As we go down the hill at Cascades here in the slipstream here with Peter Woodmore. He's just going to grab the apex a little bit better there than Kennedy, but is he going to get the run? Not quite. And as we go on board here, you'll start to notice how difficult it could be to overtake here this afternoon because of the way this circuit is laid out. It is pretty narrow round here at Oulton Park. There are not many big braking zones. That's what you need, really, to make overtakes. This corner is going to be crucial for Peter Woodmore. Getting a good run out of here and then a move into turn 10 might be everyone's best chance.
Yeah, and at the moment he's going to be filing in, so that's one of the closest battles. There is a bit of a pack in the midfield just here, so they'll be looking to lining up themselves up for an overtake. Speaking of which, Alan McCain just gets past David Collar, and he'll get that job done moving himself a little bit further up, and Sean's up the road from there, so Sean's gained one place. He's in P16 currently at the moment, and as you said, don't hit those tyre barriers, gentlemen. That will just send you into the game over category.
Absolutely, it will do a lot of damage, and don't forget the damage is on in this series this time round, as it was not in the TVG series last season. Battle for 26th is going on side by side up the hill right now, by the way, or just out the chicane, I should say, here. I'm impressed they've made it through there, actually. But Curtis Matthews comes out the other side on top with Clyde Comfort making his way through the field as well quite nicely. He's here now, John Johnston, on the way towards Druids, and he does get round the outside. So Clyde Comfort through into 27th ahead of John Johnston. Then it's Michael Champlin who is just behind them. As meanwhile, side by side for 8th place, Dan Wareham versus Peter Duke in towards turn number 1. It's certainly possible to make your moves down here, as it turns out. And Dan Wareham does make his way through this time. On Duke, in towards 8th place, but here comes Peter Duke back again. Here comes Orlemans as well, as Harry Price gets through into the top 5.
This is absolutely fantastic racing, which is what you would to expect to see here at the GR86 UK Cup. And it's door banging all the way, or most of the way. Still Scotty and Mark Brown leading this one. They have a almost 1.5 second gap to Neil. And then Neil's got a gaggle of essentially these cars just down the road from him. So predictions are coming true a little bit there, Bazzy, about Scotty running away with this one at the moment. But we still have a little bit of time to go. So never say never.
Absolutely. In towards the turn 10 they go here. It's going to be a pass here for Jeremy Orlemans. He's going to have a real chance here as they go over the crest of the hill. He works his way alongside, fully alongside now, in towards the right-hander, and he's through. Pass from Jeremy Orlemans back into the top 5. As further back, by the way, Dave Collier has gone off, I think, at the banked turn 5, from what I can tell. It is indeed. Now, did he do it on his own, or was he pushed? He just got up on the curve of the inside line, runs a little bit wide. Oh, it's the outside curve that does for him, and he slides into the inside wall.
Yeah, into the kitty litter, and he's got the power down, the rear wheel slips, and that's all she wrote. Into the fence, not too much of a runoff there. Well, that's the situation. Scotty just set the fastest lap as well, too, on the last lap. You have to give it to Mark Brown, buddy. He's still keeping him honest right here. Still keeping him honest. Even though Scotty's putting some banker laps in, so is Mark responding, as you can see the top 2.
Absolutely. All 30 drivers still in the race. And by the way, we will once again at the end of the stream have a draw for the track art of Oulton Park, as we have every week here. It is going to be, of course, at the end, won by someone who has completed both of the races here this evening. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. Alan McCain, of course, the winner of that 1 week ago. On board we go with Jack Holland now, looking to take advantage maybe of Peter Duke going backwards as he was just overtaken by Dan Wareham. Will Holland get through into turn 5 as a result? Not really. He looks up the outside now. This is where he switches back. Go down low on the exit here and just get a run. He's not quite been able to manage it. Careful on the outside line there. That's where Dave Collier went for his spin, of course. Got to be really careful that you don't do the same. This battle for 5th place really hots up here. It's one big group.
He might send it here. No. Elects just to back off. They get the slipstream. Brakes a little earlier than the driver ahead of him. I guess that's quite wisely. I was actually surprised about that overtake before too, because you definitely had to get that done, didn't you, before you into those tyre barrels, because there's no way you're going side by side through there. It's like 2 cars going side by side through the castle section in Baku.
Yeah, nearly. It's very tight indeed, but it's possible. As we saw in the battle for 26th earlier on, it is possible. And I believe Clyde Comfort and John Johnson might be doing it again now. Oh dear. Well, oh no, they're not. Oh no, it's all gone a bit wrong back here, I'm afraid, for John Johnson and Clyde Comfort. Let's see what happened. nobody was side by side with anybody else, so there must have been an error. Clyde Comfort goes wide through Hislops. He gets onto the grass and clips John Johnston. That's what happened there. Bit of an awkward moment for those guys.
Yeah, you saw it. It's not too much to elaborate more on that. Going a little bit deep, of course, in the turn, and then couldn't quite get it back onto the track correctly there. That grass is very, very slippery here this evening, mate.
It is, yeah. And there's a lot of it around this circuit, which doesn't really help, I wouldn't have thought. As we see, with 12 minutes to go, on board with Scott McFall ahead of Mark Brown. This is impressive from Mark Brown, I think. Real challenge in race one that we've seen to Scott McFall for this amount of time, and Mark Brown clearly is the only driver really to put up this challenge.
Yeah, that's what I was. I'm actually very, very impressed. He has a shot here. He's definitely been keeping Scotty honest this whole time. And that's what you want to be doing. You want to try to push, put some pressure on our race leader and championship leader here and force him into some sort of mistake. Now, it's not an easy thing. It's easier said than done, but hey, you got to force him into mirror drive, mate, and that's exactly what you can do. Take your eyes off the screen, off his braking point for 1 second into a corner, and that's a mistake, and Mark Brown will pounce on that.
Exactly. This is going to be very, very interesting indeed. John Johnson, by the way, is still in the race. He is down in 30th, but he has been the first driver down pit lane, I'm afraid, down at the back. So these guys shouldn't catch him, but they are catching him by the looks of that battle thing you can see in the bottom right of your screen. 45 seconds up the road. They shouldn't be getting there in 11 minutes' time. Kennedy under pressure from Peter Woodmore into the final corner this time round. That was a look at the inside from Woodmore there, who couldn't quite do it. 2.4 seconds off the lead. They're not focused on that. They're focused on the last step of the podium, which Peter Woodmore would very much like to take off Neil Kennedy at the moment.
Good battling still. Sean is a little bit further down the road, actually, right on Lee's tailpipe, actually. So Alan McCain's on his tailpipe, and Terry Ackerson and Adrian are also battling it out too for now. I know he was in the chat earlier, of course. He shouldn't be chatting at the moment. He'll be driving. And Jeremy is definitely trying to fight away past Peter Woodmore. But as you said, to elaborate that one too, Ewan, it's not easy to overtake around here.
Not easy at all, no. Rylands, meanwhile, is looking like he's going to get past Forster and has got past Forster, actually, for 14th place on the way towards turn 4. So, great overtake from him. Alan McCain gets very close to Sean Atkinson in the background as well, although he goes a bit wide in the grass, kicks up a bit of dirt, and he won't be going anywhere in these next couple of moments. We are halfway through the race then. 10 minutes to go here in the opening race of the evening. Don't forget to stay with us, because after this one, we've got a full reverse grid and 25 more minutes of racing. What a treat that is going to be. It's going to be a fantastic second race with so much difficulty in overtaking. I'm looking forward to seeing the leaders like Scott McFall and Mark Brown having to do some overtaking, because so far they haven't had to, of course.
And if they're capable of doing it, they certainly are slicing and dicing their way through the field. But as you get, I don't think it'll be one of those last to first challenges, or at least from the reverse grid, like you've seen in the past. Yeah, because it's difficult to overtake, as you can clearly see. And Alan seems to be a little bit more smoother, isn't he? In smooth in, quick out kind of thing, or smooth in, as he has to kick off all the dust too on his windscreen wipers to do work, obviously, here in these cars. Fantastic. So get the overtake done soon, please, Alan, mate, because I want to switch the camera over to some other battles. So here you go. You've got your time to shine. Step out of the shadows and into the spotlight.
Yeah, putting some time pressure on him as well. Into the slipstream he goes on Sean Atkinson here, who does feel the need to move around a little bit on the way down to Cascades. Here he goes on the inside. He slides straight into the side of Sean Atkinson. And it's gone wrong. They held it for a long time there, and Sean Atkinson does now go off the road. That one is going to be subject to review, I'm sure, as meanwhile, Jack Holland has a look at the inside there of Scott Brown. He can't get through, and neither can Brown on Duke there out of turn 5.
Here we go. It could be a challenge for the lead here. This is one of the closest that Brown has been to Scotty all race long, with 8 minutes and change to go on this one. Yep, I guess to get some overtaking done, you got to do a bit of door banging around here. I tell you what, that's exactly what we're seeing here. Almost turned him. Mark was very, very clever to lift off on that one here, Ewan, but here we go. Now he's going to drop back a little bit. That's his first challenge, and challenge was accepted by Scotty and also defended by Scotty.
Yeah, well done on that one. Defended so far, as Look at Dan Wareham here on the back of Harry Price as well. This is getting very interesting indeed. Alan McCain has now worked his way past Dan Forster, who's got off the road. Dan Forster's off from 15th place down at the chicane, I believe. And he's back on again now, but Michael Vester goes through. So does Terry Atkinson as well. What's happened to him here out of Knickerbrook, it looks like. Still behind Lee Rylands. Oh, he goes for a bit of a spin, half spin, eventually spins around, and Forster drops down. Terry Atkinson's now dropping down, so he's gone off at the final corner as well. It's been a lively race so far. We're just over 7 minutes remaining now.
This is a battle currently at the moment for around P10. There's a battle brewing up the road, as we've said a couple of times. So we got Harry. He's behind this gaggle of cars here with Jeremy and Peter just a little bit up the road there. Scotty and Mark, well, after Mark's attack, Terry's gone off somewhere. I think it's a pit road. He's had a crash, and he's actually managed to tow that one back to pit road, so he won't be competing anymore, I don't think, in this heat one with 6 minutes and change to go.
Maybe not. We will see for Terry Atkinson as we ride aboard now with Scott McFall, who's got Mark Brown right behind him here. 6.5 minutes remaining. Will there be a challenge like last time here from Mark Brown? McFall clearly sees the threat because he moves his car to the middle of the road and doesn't, in the end, have to defend. But he knows he's there for sure. And this is the biggest challenge that he's had in an opening race, I think, all season long. As meanwhile, further down, Terry Atkinson does get out the pit lane. He will continue on. A change as Rick Wishon gets past one of the two Walters down at the back there as well. He's still recovering, of course, from his spin on the opening lap of the race.
We'll see whether or not Mark has enough here to mount another challenge. He had to stick his nose out, and as James would say, and get it chopped off like a plastic surgeon would. And he's going to learn from that mistake first time and realise, okay, well, where can I get the opportunity done? As we know, there's not many of them around here. Still Dan on the tailpipe there of Harry Price with Jeremy and Peter just a little bit up the road. So that's one of the closest battles you're seeing currently. And let's have a look at those position gainers and losers currently in our Heat 1 too, mate.
Yep, let's have a look at who's got the biggest. I'm scrolling up and down. Derry Allman's got it wrong. What's that? What's happening there? And Dan Wareham's going through on the inside, so steaming through up into the top 5. So Price gains one place, then loses one. Now he might lose another as Jeremy Allman gets back through again. But it's Allman who slowed down initially that's caused all this in the first place.
Yeah, it did. That's going to definitely bring this party. 3's a party, 4's a party. It's going to be massive. And that's Andy White as well, too, in the background there. Mark Proctor is a little bit further back in this field. There's a little bit of switcheroo back there in P20 and so forth. But this is brewing. Let's have a look at Mark's going to mount an attack here at the moment. This could be one of the penultimate laps if we get another one in there. No, it doesn't do it, but he could sweep around here. Let's have a look if he sticks his nose out there. Both go a little bit wide on the left side to sweep it back over, hug the apex like your favourite grandma, as Martin Brundle would say.
Might still have 3 laps to go here, by the way, depending on when we get to the line. I think it could be 3 left, so let's see in a few minutes' time what we get to. But this is going to be interesting to see indeed. Dan Wareham, of course, so you can see on the left-hand side, up 6 so far in the race. He's the biggest mover forward, tied with Alan McCain. In 15th place, in 16th place Tim Walters, and in 17th place Michael Vester. All of them have gained 6 so far in this opening race. Moving on forward, I'm sure we'll see more moving forward in the second race. As we know, there will be a reverse grid that at the moment Terry Atkinson and John Johnson will be sharing the front row of. In towards turn 1 they go, wide again from both of these two. You can do that here at this circuit. They get 3 laps to go this time round.
I was just wondering if Mark Brown's starting to use Scotty as his racing line, which is not to be suggested, of course, because if Scotty makes a mistake, Mark Brown will make a mistake as well. Got to focus on your own racing line. A little bit difficult, of course, when you have a car taking up majority of your screen space or VR space if you're riding in VR. Sean Atkinson has gone back into pit road. He might have too much damage on that one. It might be all she wrote on that. Currently, we will switch back a little bit here for a second because there is Jack Holland. He's had to lift off, actually, just as we get right on the tailpipe of Peter Duke. I see those gaggle of cars further back here. There is a bit of a switcheroo party happening. As you can see, clearly, looks like Dan thinks that he's a bit quicker than the rest of the pack here, and He's darting around absolutely everywhere, trying to get past Michael Vester and both of the American drivers, actually, here from North America.
Very close indeed behind Vester now up the hill, but Dan Forster should be able to work his way through, you'd think, on the way in towards turn 10 here. Inside, he's going to have a look now in towards the right-hander, side by side into the chicane. Someone might have to back out, and it looks like Vester has decided.
Oh, you're not going to make him
stop! Oh, Forster's got it wrong! Oh, he smashed the pit wall there, or the tyre wall, I should say. Goodness me, that has saved us from a big accident there, and Forster has to return to pit lane.
I was looking at that going, there's no way he's going to make that stop, is he? And that's all she wrote. That was that's a nasty one. Let's have a look at that one again. I just want to see it from on board. You thought that. We were watching this, didn't we? And it was like, all right, okay, so we're side by side. You got to commit now. And then it's like, where's the brakes, mate? Where's the brakes? Oh, they're the brakes.
That's gone a bit wrong, I'm afraid, for Dan Forster. Side by side, meanwhile, between Price and Holland. This is for 7th place as Harry Price is falling backwards a little bit now. And here comes Jack Holland trying to hold on ahead of Scott Brown. Oh, no, they've gone off. Scott Brown and Jack Holland both off the road. And they will, oh dear, careful on the grass. They will get back on again, but not before losing a load of places. Holland's down to 12th, and it will be even further down the field, I'm afraid, for Scott Brown, who now rejoins.
Wow, it seems to be, at the moment, a pattern's emerging that the only way anybody's getting an overtake here is literally door banging, and unfortunately sometimes that door banging results in somebody going around, or in another case, 2 cars going around, as these 2 are going through it slicing. Is this Mike Brown's last chance to try to steal this one away from Scotty, who hasn't managed to run away from this race? So this is a 2-horse race currently at the moment. As you can see, these gladiators, there's the herd all the way back in the pictures. But, yep, I think maybe on the radio, isn't it? The team's telling Mark that be careful, mate, because most of these overtaken opportunities here have resulted in a spin or an accident.
Yeah. Here we go into the right-hander. For Scott McFall and Mark Brown. Just in behind, Neil Kennedy, of course, leading the line as they will get to the line for one more lap. So 12 laps in this opener. And who is going to take the honours at the very end? Looks like, by the way, we're going to get a 15-lap second race as well for those counting at home. So that's what we've got to look forward to in the full reverse grid a little bit later on. In towards Cascades they go. Where can Mark Brown find this overtake on the very last lap? He'll throw everything at this, surely.
Yep, Sean, I said too much weird damage and had to retire from the first race. Well, good luck on the second one, my friend. Yep, you got a reverse grid, so we'll see how that pans out for you. Well, actually, you won't be getting too much on that reverse grid, but I don't think Mark's going to... That's off the racing line big time there to try to send it. Trying to throw a little bit of a dummy there to Scotty, but I think Scotty's caught up on that one. Now, pretty much flat out, isn't it, in this sector before you come up to a kink? You know all the racing corners, mate. But we'll see how it pans out here. Ewan?
Yeah, we will. Let's see if there's any move down here. It's looking like too far back now for Mark Brown. He might just not be able to work his way through in the end here. It's been a good challenge, but Scott McFall looks like he might well be victorious again for the 4th time in 5 races. The UK Cup, up the hill they go. Brown does have a bit of a better exit. He is closing in the slipstream, of course, but is he close enough? It would have to be a humongous dive in the final corner. Should he be attempting anything here? Let's have a look. He's got a decent run, but he's miles back. And surely he's not going to go for the move here into the final corner. It is going to be Scott McFall again. 4 wins out of 5 for Scott McFall here in the Tanso Racing Group GR86 UK Cup here at the end of 2024. Another great win as he soaked up the pressure from Mark Brown all race long.
Yeah, Mark Brown flashing his lights there to say good race, mate, and certainly as well too as Peter does. Some of these drivers at the moment are really showing their respect to everybody else. There's Jeremy finishing in P6, Andy White a little bit further down, Harry Price, Mark Proctor, and Craig will round out your top 10, mate.
Yeah, that's the top 10. Further back, Walters and Champlin are quite close into the final corner right now. That's the last battle in the field, really, for 20th place. Curtis Matthews holding on to that one just for the moment. Can he hold out? It looks like he will do as they make their way over the line. And it looks like everybody's going to get to the finish other than Sean Atkinson, who went to the pit lane late on there. Not really sure why, though, because we saw Terry Atkinson and John Johnson have to make a stop, as well as Dan Forster as well. We saw his crash live, but Sean Atkinson is not going to get to the end of this one.
Oh, he said he had wheel damage and had to retire.
Okay.
So almost a couple more drivers to finish up this one. The stacked grid of 30 drivers here this evening, which is fantastic for our third round.
Yeah, absolutely. John Johnson, Terry Atkinson and Dan Forster will just make their way over the line in a few moments' time. They're in the final corner as we speak. Final corners, so they will make their way up towards the line. Of course, they will be sharing the front two rows alongside Sean Atkinson at the very front. So that's going to be exciting to see in a few moments' time. Of course, there's a warm-up session between now and then. Let's have a look at the race results of the opening race of the evening then, with another victory for Scott McFall. The gap, though, the smallest it's been all season long. 4/10 of a second, that is Mark Brown. Then Neil Kennedy, who held off Peter Woodmore, Dan Wareham and Jeremy Allemans in the battle for the top three. Andy White finished 7th, ahead of Harry Price, Mark Proctor and Craig Corrish, rounding out the top 10. Lee Rylands finished just outside that with Jack Holland, recovering from that late issue with Scott Brown. Alan McCain, Adrian Hatford and Tim Walters finished in between them. Then it was Brown himself, followed by Michael Vester and Rick Wishon next. 19th place in the end, as we scroll down a little bit further, will be Curtis Matthews, who finishes just ahead of Michael Walters. Michael Champlin is the first driver outside the top 20, with Lukas Kotlinski in 22nd. Dave Collier, Peter Duke and Clyde Comfort were the final drivers within a minute of the win, with Bradley Lovings in 26th. John Johnson, Terry Atkinson, Dan Forster had to make the stop. Sean Atkinson didn't get to the end, so I missed his message in YouTube chat. Apologies for making you repeat yourself. He did indeed say that too much rear wheeled damage to continue, but he will start from the pole in the second race, and that's the beauty of this series.
Oh, it's full reverse grid, so yes, absolutely. Forgot about that. My apologies. I thought it was only a certain amount of cars as a reverse grid, but that will give him an opportunity. He's got to really get his head down there and try to build a little bit of a gap before the mounting attack, no doubt. But he's got an advantage because he knows around here how difficult it is for people to overtake. So track position is going to be key. Now, Ewan, we've got a bit of a competition up, as you mentioned, as well.
Certainly do. There's a raffle for some track art of Oulton Park available to all of those drivers who get to the end of both races here tonight. I will be selecting a random number at the end of the broadcast, and the driver whose number that corresponds to will be getting the track art for this one. At the opening round of the season, Peter Duke was the winner. Alan McCain was the winner last week. And so we will be seeing who can get the track art this time round. And at the end of the season, Conspit have donated a sim dash worth near £300 for a raffle at the end of the season. That's open to all drivers who have completed both races in 6 out of the 7 rounds of our championship this season. So those are the two things that can be won by the drivers this time around. Of course, there is things available to you at home as well. It's time to thank the partners who make these broadcasts possible here with the Tanso Racing Group on the JP YouTube channel here every Sunday night with myself and Biggles. It is Techsport Racing, one of them. You can find them in our YouTube description. Their Facebook and Instagram are down there. They're one of our partners for this series, alongside TS Livery Designs, whose Facebook is also in our description. Newly on board for this season, after the last one, Discount Tyre are on board, and you can find them down below, as well as Blue Angel Kennels and another new sponsor, OMP, whose Facebook is also down at the description. And then Conspit as well, of course, who I've already mentioned, donating that sim dash to one of the drivers at the end of the season. So we look forward to that. Just less than 2 minutes to go then in warm-up, and these drivers are mostly taking it easy. Most of them are not driving, but interestingly, we're following here. Terry Atkinson has decided that he would like to do a bit of driving in these 5 minutes that most people are using just for a bit of time off.
Not a bad idea, actually. Yes, because he probably didn't get all the actual laps in that he wanted to with that damage. But you mentioned about that 300 pounds. Well, for those US drivers out there, and there are quite a few on this grid, that's half a grand, $1,000. Big ones there. So certainly a fantastic league to get involved in, and obviously some prizes up for grabs. Just having a little bit of chatter. We don't know where Capes, Scotty's saying it was good racing there. And, well done for some of them. Buckle up for race 2. Exactly. We're buckled up here in the commentary box. You, the gladiators out there, they have to be sweating it out, trying to find a gap car to get an overtake. So I'm looking forward to it. Ewan, I certainly think you are. Yeah. Will we have a big one? Will there be a big one here where you get a couple of cars going off because they realise overtaking opportunities probably early here while they're all bunched up?
I think I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with the overtaking chances throughout the race, actually, in that opener. So I'm hoping that things are going to be okay for the race generally, terms of overtaking. But I think you're right. Everyone will see that early part of the race has a bit of ambition, and hopefully it is a clean start because we know that it could be a bit messy around here.
Could. Yes, exactly. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe if you're enjoying this racing. It'll be helping support the Tanso Racing Group as well, as this is the practice session. A little bit of a warm-up session between our main event right now, a feature race reverse grid that's about to start anytime soon now, and then we'll get that grid up for you to see who's going to be benefiting and who won't be benefiting.
Yes, let's have a look at the for the second race. It will be Sean Atkinson and Dan Forster who are on the front row, headed Terry Atkinson and John Johnson. They, of course, had issues in the opening race. Then Bradley Lovings and Clyde Comfer in an All-American at row 3, followed a little bit further down by Peter Duke and Dave Collier. Lucas Kotlinski and Michael Champlin will round out the top 10. Then, later on, it is going to be Michael Walton and Curtis Matthews, another All-American row, ahead of Rick Wishon and Michael Vestor, another one. Then Scott Brown and Tim Walters on row 8, ahead of Adrian Hatfield and Alan McCain, with Jack Holland and Lee Rylands rounding out the top 20. Craig Courish and Mark Proctor are next, ahead of Harry Price and Andy White. Jeremy Ullermans and Dan Wareham are on the next row, ahead of Peter Woodmore and Neil Kennedy on the penultimate row. Mark Brown and Scott McFall, who round out the very final row on the grid. We are still waiting for Scott Brown, by looks things, to get on the grid, but now he has done, and we are ready to go for 25 minutes of racing. The full reverse grid here from Oulton Park, going to be very exciting indeed. Dan Forster with another great chance to win in the TVG GR86 UK Cup here this time around, and he's not got a great start, I'm afraid, for this time around. Sean Atkinson has gotten off to a good start, though. He is in the lead, ahead of Forster, then Terry Atkinson, then John Johnson. Around the outside goes Bradley Lovings, who moves up to 4th.
Absolutely. Oh, brilliant. Who's going a little bit slow there? John Johnson really lost off the pace at the moment, allowing a ton of cars to go through. Whether that's deliberate or not, but either way, he's not going to be liking it. But so far, so good. We're going to the blimp camera so we can kind of capture as many cars as we possibly can there, Ewan, to see if they're all going to go through cleanly. But look at this gaggle of cars at the back here. I don't know if this is going to work, mate. Oh. I don't know if this is going to work.
And they get too wide, at least before Island Bend. That's probably a good idea. Here they go in towards turn 5. This is where things can go wrong. Walters hits the back of the driver in front. There's a big concertina effect. Huge. And they all get away with it this time around. Goodness me. That was difficult. Scott McFall still down in 28th place, by the way. He's not been able to gain loads of positions on lap 1 as he's normally able to do because of, look at this. There is so little space on the circuit.
This is where we have to keep our eyes a little bit further up as well, but I just want to see how they're going to file in through here. Oh, everybody keeps it out of the tyre barrier. No, I spoke a little bit too soon.
Dude.
That's Adrian.
Hatfield, and Holland has to avoid him on the outside. He doesn't dare move, and he drops to the back. That's a real shame for Adrian Hatfield.
Wow, this goes to show how much action there is in the midfield, and that's exactly what was mentioned out in the chatter earlier, because at the front of the timing tower, there's not a lot of major changes. We'll pull that up there also with the gains.
There are the gains on the opening lap. Who has made the most? It looks like Craig Courish, who's up to 15th place so far. Holland and Wareham, meanwhile, go side by side. Oh, dear, there's a change for the lead here, and side by side for the lead. Dan Forster and Sean Atkinson in towards turn 1, around the outside of turn 1. Dan Forster gets into the lead. Can he win for the second time this season?
Absolutely fantastic. We'll see if I can get a chance to go back and have a look at that amazing overtaking opportunity there from Dan. We will really quickly, because we don't just want to highlight the mistakes here. We want to highlight the gains that these gladiators have made. And there it is into turn one, mate. It sweeps it around the outside and makes it stick.
Very impressive move indeed around the outside of turn number one there. And so through he goes. Side by side, meanwhile, for 8th place, Collier and Chaplin. Oh. That's off the road for Michael Chaplin. He needs to get back on again. The gravel might save him here. He turns across. Don't come on the circuit. Oh, he just about stops himself in time. Well done. Michael Chaplin avoiding a pretty big catastrophe there. As meanwhile, Clyde Comfer and Lucas Kodlinski go side by side. Comfer will get straight through up into 6th place.
I thought they were going to go side by side there for a second, but no, they've elected not to. This is fantastic racing. Oh, last of the... Oh, no! Oh, Ewan!
Me.
How could you... How?
And Kotlinski's on the racing line here. He reverses, but he's a bit of a more of a mobile chicane, and they're going side by side through it. Oh, my goodness me. They all get through, and he drops to the back again. Mark Proctor, meanwhile, has been in the pit lane. He's back out again, though, onto the circuit, which is good to see, but look how close it is. This is absolutely madness. It is... Comfer loses places now. Collier and Wishon get through into Druids. You just saw it go through your shot a few moments ago, and he's continuing to go backwards now, Clyde Comfort.
This is absolutely fantastic racing, and hats off to the driver before too, having to stay there painfully, but didn't destroy a whole other racers. And Clyde into the kitty litter and into the fence.
It's the final corner. And he's going to reverse himself out of there, but he'll drop to the back in the meantime. Matthews and Walters are going side by side towards turn number one. And through goes Matthews, Curtis Matthews, ahead of Tim Walters. Here comes Corish as well on the inside line. Can he maybe get through on the way down the hill? This could be a good chance for him. No, not quite. Oh, a bit of weaving around to avoid contact there as Alan McCain gets past Michael Vester. And now Dan Wareham tries to do the same as well. Wareham is flying here, up 12 places so far.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And can you overtake around here? Yes, it is difficult, but it's proven that some of the drivers can do it. Lots of overtaking, actually, in our feature race, which is fantastic.
Through they go, the right-hander, and back onto the back straight again. Out of turn number 5, side by side between Vester and Walters. Here comes Peter Woodmore as well. Is he going to make it 3 wide maybe? Is he just going to push one of them here on the outside line? Oh, it looks like he might well do. There he goes, down on the outside line, is further up ahead.
So
Scott Brown gets past John Johnston. That was pretty easy. This won't be though. Flying on the outside, Scott McFall's going to get through. As off the road goes Jack Holland, spinning around as well, Peter Woodmore. And it's carnage back here. Absolutely carnage. Spinning around, Jack Holland is going to have to get out of the way now. What a big shame for him.
Well, I knew that was going to happen, isn't it? You can't get that many cars into that corner and see the car pointing in the right direction. Not at all. Now, Sean's getting a little bit of a car park behind him here at the moment, mate, because he's got Bradley Lovins and Peter Duke chasing him.
Certainly does. Towards turn 1 they go. And Forster has got a little bit of a chance to get away here. Look at the gap, 0.6 of a second. He's teetering on the edge of getting away properly here. I think if Lovings and Atkinson fight too hard, then he could be in the clear, as they are side by side. Now Duke gets up the inside of Bradley Lovings and takes 3rd place away.
Will he get the exit to make another run? He's right on the tailpipe at the moment. Give him a little bit of a push. Come on, mate. Come on. He's like, get on with it. Get on with it. Got to try to run the outside.
Around the outside, he's going to have to go here. Oh, it's close. He looks right. He looks left. He can't quite do it. Duke defends on the inside line and holds on again as Craig Curtis and Curtis Matthews have been up. Oh, my goodness me. Curtis Matthews is climbing the grass bank here and he's up on the tyre wall.
Yep, we'll have to go back and have a look at that one. I've not seen a car into the tyre wall like that anytime soon, but we will go back and have a look at it in a little bit because I don't want to miss the action between these two duking it out with Peter Duke, of course, for P3.
Absolutely.
No puns intended on that one, though, Duke. It just flowed.
Good. I'm sure you absolutely did attend it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's quite good. Out of turn 12 for Collier and Wishon for 6th place, by the way. They're absolutely nose to tail. Let's go, look back, though, what happened here to Curtis Matthews and also Clyde Comfort. Matthews on the inside line here, and 3 wide. The driver on the very inside doesn't quite realise it yet, and they go crashing, and up they go. They just can't stop themselves here. Look at that. That's dramatic stuff there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've not seen that. Oh, well, I have to get a toe on that one. No way you're getting unstuck from the fence.
Yeah, absolutely. Find yourself in a lot of trouble down there, unfortunately. So, out of the final corner comes John Johnson, but he's off the road. And Alan McCain and Dan Wareham are going to get straight through here. Wareham and McFall are the biggest gainers in this race so far. They are the ones from the very back who are really making the progress, although Wareham's only just got into the top 10. Scott McFall still only 13th.
Yeah, still only, but it's not bad considering he had to fight his way through. In fact, he's right there, just behind this gaggle of cars. Side by side, it's going to try it around the outside. He should have the exit speed if he does. Keep it off the kitty litter, which he does. And bingo, there it is. So up another 18 places now. And Mark Brown's right behind him.
Through, and this battle for ninth continues on. In towards turn 5 they go. So many big groups on this circuit, by the way. So many drivers still out there as well. Here goes Duke. He's looking for a pass here on Sean Atkinson, who knows that if he stays there, he's got a chance of getting past Forster and an outside chance of winning here, but he hits the wall. Scrapes the inside wall. He's okay, though, Sean Atkinson. The smoke and everything make it look a lot more dramatic than it actually was.
How did he survive that, mate? Whoa! But Mark Brown doesn't. Mark Brown doesn't. Oh dear, and now he's got to frustratingly stay here. All those positions gained, mate, are just gone. Just like that. One little mistake, bingo. You almost plumped last now, mate. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Well, it did look like a little bit of a rash move down the inside, didn't it, to be honest? Another look, of course, in a few minutes' time as, meanwhile, Kennedy and Walters go side by side. This is for 14th place. Tim Walters looking for it, but can't quite do it. And there's Michael Walters just in the background there, and the Jacques Villeneuve helmet livery design there.
I don't know what's happening at the moment. A couple of drivers are coming off track. This is all the way at the back of the field here, but certainly as entertaining as it is anywhere else on track. Sean is up at a P2. He's got the cheer squad out there. We can hear them in the chat every time he goes past the commentary box.
What's happening up ahead here? Oh, I thought something might have gone wrong. Oh, yeah, it certainly has. Walters of Woodmore and Vesta all off down the final corner there. And he can't get back going again here up the hill, can Michael Walters. His car is absolutely broken. It goes Peter Duke looking up the inside of Sean Atkinson, who's still holding on to second place. Yep,
absolutely fantastic. And they want to chase down Dan, who's looking for another race win here this season, and he certainly has a little bit of a gap. Now, it's not a massive gap. Scott McFall here and Alan McCain. Now, what do you think these drivers don't have to yield and let him pass, of course, the championship leader of Scotty. Scotty has to earn this, and Scotty does earn it before. Let's see if we can get a run on Alan. Chooses the outside.
He does. Let's see what he can do around the outside line here. He'll be late on the brakes by the looks of things here, McFall. And can he get through on Alan McCain? It's going to be tricky, but he gets it done. Wow. Around the outside through the first part, giving the inside for the second, although he's still there. McCain's still there, giving him a real fight here. But round the outside, McFall will have it done now. He's got a better run, and he will be into 10th place. This is a good recovery for the championship leader, doing only as he can. A really clean job of getting through on everybody here. Meanwhile, Peter Duke down the inside of Sean Atkinson, and finally, he gets second place, or does he? Sean Atkinson comes back again on the outside, and here goes Bradley Lovings as well. He's got the run on the both of them, looking right, looking left. No, there's no space here, really. Here goes Atkinson on the outside line of Peter Duke in towards the fast right-hander. And, Lovings, oh dear, that was rash up the inside and he can't do it.
Yeah, I didn't think he's going to get it daylight double shot on that corner. He was going to throw it in there, chuck it in, try to get 2-for-1 special. Didn't quite pan out for Bradley. It'll drop a couple of places. Oh!
He hit Duke there. He just hit him slightly, and here goes Lovings. He's going to get to at least one of them. Sean Atkinson off the podium now. And Bradley Lovings will gain as a result of the two making contact down there at Cascades.
I got a sneaking suspicion that this little battle is not going to be over anytime soon.
I suspect so, yeah. I suspect this could be going on a while. Although, before the race, I would have said Peter Duke was one of the favourites to win here. I don't think that really is true anymore, because look at the gap that Dan Forster's got all of a sudden. Feels very similar this race so far to Brands Hatch, as Bradley Lovings does look up the inside line on a very narrow inside line indeed, but he doesn't quite go for it, actually. He was alongside, couldn't do it. Wishon and Terry Atkinson, meanwhile, go side by side, and Rick Wishon does get through as well.
but runs a little bit wide on that one. Lucky he had enough of a runoff. It will hand the exit speed back to Terry. Well, Tazza, as he'll get the run up here now, mate. But will he tuck in or choose the outside?
Gonna have to go inside. Oh, no, can't do it. Terry Atkinson, around the outside goes Brown. Oh, careful. Up on the grass and out wide. It's going to be side by side on the way down the hill now in towards the right-hander. He's late on the brakes and through goes Brown. So Scott Brown this time round making his way through, and Rick Wishon still holding on to that top 5. But for how much longer here with Brown right behind him?
I'll talk to iRacing about chopping some of these trees down in the game, please. So in the sim. All right, we don't need them there, please, iRacing, okay? It's not the real track. We're not going to chop down the trees, but help us with the cameras.
Oh, Jack Collins in pit lane.
Yeah.
He done now. Not sure. But everyone's still in the race, by the way. Even those who had the big kerfuffle into the final corner a few moments ago have rejoined. As Terry Atkinson, speaking of which, is rejoining, and so is Scott Brown. They've had an incident clearly as well.
Yeah, just looking at that. Scott Brown's come off track. Let's have a quick look at the replay.
Now then.
Has he gone too deep? Yeah, there it is. And
he's slide through Cascades.
He's on the anchors too, but somehow kept it pointing in the right direction. So good on him. Just dropped a couple of places, but still in the race.
Yeah, well done for keeping it pointed in the right direction as through the fast left-hander go the battle for 17th place. This is Kotlinski, Hadfield and Orlemans. Orlemans might be the only ones that not had real problems today so far in this race. However, he has been delayed by the incidents that have happened ahead of him, I would imagine. Hadfield has been for a spin, and so has Kotlinski so far. He's weaving all over the place here, Jeremy. I don't know what he's doing, but he's looking up the inside of Hadfield now, and he might well have a chance to go through. Hadfield breaks a bit too late there. He hits Kotlinski, who's gone very deep into the corner now himself. Now Orlemans might be able to take advantage. Kotlinski holds on to the car somehow, but Hadfield loses a place for his trouble.
I think that weaving's actually thrown off the driver, isn't it? He's probably staring at his mirrors there and made a little bit of a mistake going in the corner there, and that's all she wrote. It's Scotty. The battle of the Scotties. Scott McFall, Scott Brown. So Scott McFall set the fastest lap on that last lap, and now he's got a little bit of a clear air up the road. Well, a little bit, not too much, but let's see what he can get that done for put another banker of a fast lap in. Here's Alan. Oh, and that's a spinner from Scott Brown. Oh, no, he's just locked up a little bit.
Oh, dear. I think it's a very similar spin to the one we just saw him have last time round, actually, based on the way he was rejoining there. Very similar indeed. Jeremy Orlemans and Lucas Kotlinski go side by side again, though, in towards turn 1. And Orlemans does now get through round the outside here in towards turn number 1. He'll have that done. You can run wide there, and he gets away with it. 17th place. As that was Michael Vester rejoining pit lane just in behind them. Here goes Hadfield up the inside. He gets a good run as well and moves up to 18th.
They're very, very lucky. They just got out ahead too of the driver exiting pit road, because that would have been quite a bit of battling to do.
Just less than 10 minutes to go here, by the way. And Dab Forster still leading, although Peter Duke is closing that gap. Bradley Loving's just ahead of Sean Atkinson in the fight for third place as well, but things are quietening down a little bit. Scott McFall is now on the back of Dave Collier and Terry Atkinson as well now, by the way, for 6th place.
Yeah, we'll still keep an eye on Sean, so he's got the crowd favourite down 3 places currently at the moment. Well, since starting on pole, but Dan a man up there by 2.5 seconds. I don't think he's going to be touchable at this point, pending he keeps it on the tarmac.
Let's see. It's going to be quite close, by the way, whether we've got 5 or 6 laps to go here, as we see McFall past Terry Atkinson. Fairly easy path for him to make. Now, McFall, by the way, has finished on the podium in every race so far this season. I wonder whether this is going to be the first race where he doesn't, whether he's going to run out of time in the next 8.5 minutes to get back to that podium place.
I think absolutely right. I don't think time's on his side on that one, as quick as the driver is, setting the fastest lap as well, too. Clearly got the pace, just doesn't have the time.
Not at the moment, by the looks of things. Sean Atkinson looking, can't get through on Lovings on that occasion, so stays behind. Here goes McFall. He's past Dave Collier as well now, so McFall up to 6th position in the field.
That's an interesting racing line on that one, wasn't it? That Bradley was taking. not quite sure it helped him a little bit too much. If anything, it's probably given Sean a little bit more breathing space, but Sean has an opportunity for a podium here. I don't think that P2 is starting to claw Peter Duke up the road and starting to become a little bit of a hard target to go. I wouldn't do a late send here, Sean, no. But the thing is, he's trying to throw Bradley off, mate. A little bit of psychological warfare at play here.
Collier gets close again to McFall there, but can't get through. Atkinson will have a better run there through the corner. As speaking of runs, Wareham is looking at Rylands here on the inside line. Oh, it's close between them. Just in behind Neil Kennedy, of course, who finished on the podium in the previous race. And Wareham does indeed get through. Through as well, or staying ahead, I should say, goes Bradley Lovings. He's still third, ahead of Sean Atkinson, although here comes Sean on the exit of Druids. Looking at the inside at the final corner. Will there be a move? Oh, it's Latish on the brakes. Can't quite do it, though, this time. He stays behind into that final corner.
I know he was thinking about it, isn't it? He thought about it there for a second, but he just realized as the corner approached pretty quickly, oh, he's not going to be able to make it. Wise move. No point in sticking your nose out there because they get chopped off. I was going to say build a battle. And once again, they go really, really wide on that one, but they can utilize the track as much as possible with the off track. And let's see if he can mount another challenge out there with the Sean Fan Club.
There's plenty of people wishing him well here. Maybe wishing him podium place. Will he get that, though, is the question. Ahead of Sean Atkinson in towards turn 4. And look at behind them, by the way. Rick Wishon, who went for a spin on the very opening lap of the very opening race at this very corner, is now right with this battle for the podium as well.
Yeah, I think now Sean's going to have to be feeling the pressure from behind more than anything of resuming his attack on Bradley. Other way, well, if he does get past Bradley, he won't have to worry about Rick for maybe a corner or two. So let's see. But at the moment, he does have to worry about Rick because Rick clearly has come out of nowhere here and is a very, very quick racing car.
Yep. That's 5.5, just over minutes to go. And Forster is still leading here by 2.2 seconds out of Peter Duke. I think he is just about going to hang on, but it's going to be a nervy last few laps, I think, for Dan Forster, who's looking to take his second win of the season. It would be quite remarkable if he would be able to do that here today. Let's see if he can indeed hang on. He's just making his way through the final corner. You can see them in the distance. They're separated at the moment. The line right now, they are going to 3 laps to go. As far as I believe, as off the road there goes Clyde Comfer. He is a lap down. These guys aren't going to gain a place out of that as Lovings continues to defend from Sean Atkinson successfully as well. He continues to in 3rd place.
And speaking of Atkinson's, Terry's just got past Alan McCain a little bit further down. Not quite yet, actually. I may have spoken too soon. They are side by side. As Tazza Allen did manage to come back through. But we'll still continue back this battle because this is where it's at. Door banging, mate. Door banging. Love it.
Wishon trying to get through on Sean Atkinson by banging his way through, and it looks like he might have done, but Atkinson's got the run on the exit of the corner. He's on the outside line now through turn number 4. Oh, he's going to struggle out there. And so through goes Wishon into 4th place ahead of Bradley Lovings. Or I should say just in behind Bradley Lovings, who just cannot get away from them at the moment. And the longer this goes on, the more the others will catch. Scott McFall is into the picture now as well.
Oh, yes. Let's have a look. There he is. And you know when Scotty's coming fast. So can he chase a podium down with 4 minutes and change to go? That's tough for even the likes of our championship leader. So he is human. We have confirmed that. We've chatted to him before, unless he's a really good AI bot. But he's an alien out there when he's a driver, that's for sure.
Yeah. 1.3 seconds for Scott McFall off the back of this group. Can he keep his 100% podium record? Last time he didn't win, and the only time he hasn't won so far this season, he finished 2nd. He's not going to achieve that, I don't think, here today. However, he will be getting a lot closer to the podium and maybe a 3rd place in this race. Surely he can get a top 5 out of this. He's got 2 laps now to try and find these positions as he looks at the back now of Sean Atkinson, Rick Wishon and Bradley Lovings fighting for 3rd place.
I want to stay on board here for a little bit just to see his racing line. As you can clearly see, his last lap was a 45.4, sorry, and they were doing 46s, so his quickest car out on track at the moment. Let us know out there in the chat, and let's hype it up there if you believe that Scotty can get himself a podium here.
Can he do it? Can he get there? Great line there, I'm afraid, from Bradley Lovings. Rick Wishon's going to have a real chance here in towards turn 4, although it's not a great place to maybe go for a move. So we'll see if he actually does. In towards the corner, looks up the inside a little bit earlier actually here as they make their way down here. Will there be a move on the brakes? No, not quite on this occasion. Defence from Sean Atkinson. He knows that Scott McFall's going to try and go through immediately. And round the outside through turn 5 might be his chance.
He might have just enough time to get a podium here, because if he can clear Sean, and I think he might have, we haven't confirmed it just yet, because Sean will have the racing line in here, but he'll have to be bold and brave. Scotty will allow Scotty through, and that was kind of clever. I don't want to be destroying a race, just gambling it out there. So let's see whether or not Scotty has whatever it has in the back of that car, or in the front of that car, to try and get the job done. And, well, if anybody could do it, Scotty could do it.
Yeah, certainly can. Wishon and Lovings just overhead here, needing 2 positions on the 1 lap. And that was an impressive move around the outside of turn 5 there, I've got to say, on Sean Atkinson. He's already got a run here into the final corner, and he knows that, does Rick Wishon. He's going to go for a move himself, is he? Or is this defence from the American? Round the outside for Scott McFall. He breaks a little bit earlier. He goes for a late apex here, and maybe the run off the corner, but no, it's Lovings who goes off. There was contact there, maybe. Was there contact, or was it a spin on his own? They all get a free position as Lovings drops now to 10th place. Here looks Scott McFall. He can't quite do it, and here goes Sean Atkinson round the outside.
This is brilliant racing. Apologies for the camera there for a second. I was just trying to get the right camera at the right place, because this battle is amazing. The action is thick and fast here. Dan in the lead, Peter Duke. They should be 1 and 2 on this, because they are starting the penultimate lap, I think, or we may have one more. Hopefully we have one more there, Ewan, because this will be great.
Yeah, it's going to be really close. Not sure whether we're seeing the white flag at the moment, but we will find out. McFall down the inside of Atkinson again. He did this last time around, of course. He was at the outside of turn 5. This time he doesn't even need the outside line. He just gets through up into 4th place, and now there's only 1 place between himself and that podium, and keeping that 100% record this season.
Okay, these two are still going at it too for now. That's Tazza, Terry, and Scott Brown, and they're squabbling over P8. Mate, as we're dying stages of this race. And, well, Scotty's got a bit of work to do. Half a second to catch Rick for a podium, but we'll keep our eyes peeled here. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? And there he goes. So Terry is holding off. Oh, Peter has gone around somewhere. Peter Woodmore, but we'll have to put our cameras back up on Scotty to see if he's got a last-minute chance here. Race leader's coming around soon to cross another line there. That's Dan. That'll be checkered. That'll be checkered.
Checkered flag. This is it. Dan Forster is going to win again here. He won the second race at Brands Hatch. He's going to hold on to win the second race here at Oulton Park as well. Meanwhile, Rick Wishon tries to hold on for a podium place. He's on the inside line. Scott McFall gets on a very tight line. He's up on the grass. The door bang to the line. It's going to be a photo finish here. Oh, he makes it. Rick Wishon makes it. He gets his podium. Holding on from Scott McFall, who finishes off of the podium for the first time. What a great defence there from Rick Wishon. What a great drive as well from Dan Forster, of course, who led most of that race and wins for the second time this season.
How's that? By milliseconds, he just missed out on that podium. 23 thousandths of a second to be exact, but nothing could take it away from Dan. He got the job done. Once he got that lead, he never looked back.
Absolutely. Brown and Kotlinski are going side by side to the line as well here. Where are they? Oh, yeah, they've just come across the line just now, 63 thousandths apart in the race. As those at the back also get to the line. It does look like Clyde Cumfer as well was a retirement towards the end, as well as Jack Holland. So they are the only 2 retirements, thankfully, from this one, in a very entertaining race indeed, I've got to say. Fantastic racing it was. We will have a look at the results in a few minutes' time once everyone has crossed the line, because we're still waiting for a couple to finish in. In fact, Curtis Matthews is still quite a long way from the line as things stand. He finished just ahead of those on the lead lap. There he is through the couple of corners at the moment.
Yeah, the old guide racing has got the Blue Angels on the side of that car. That's good to see. Get it done, finishing. He's certainly flying and flying his way into 25th position, but that's always good, I always say. Finish a race, because you're scheduled to do it anyway. You're scheduled to race, and I'm sure if you're in P1, you wouldn't be parking it. So it doesn't matter if you're in P1 or P25. You bring it home, and flashes his lights. as to go, yoo-hoo, I've got it done. I've survived the elephant track. It does bird out, celebrate.
More than some can say. And there he is. Maybe noses on stream and celebrates as well. Let's have a look at the results with a victory for Dan Forster for the second time this season. 1.2 seconds was his margin, holding on for Peter Duke in the end. And Scott McFall, he is going to be credited with third. As a penalty for Rick Wishon at the end, drops him down to 17th. Atkinson and Dave Collier will finish in the top 5 with Alan McCain 6th. Scott Brown, Terry Atkinson, Neil Kennedy and Dan Wareham round out the top 10 with Lee Rylands and Harry Price narrowly missing out. Bradley Lovings dropped to 13th in that late incident with Andy White and Tim Walters running out the top 15. Jeremy Orlemans, then it's Rick Wishon who drops down. He'll be very disappointed indeed with 17th at the end of all that. Mark Brown finishes in 18th in the end. Further down the field, Lukas Kotlinski was next. Then Peter Woodmore running up top 20, Michael Champlin and John Johnson with the final drivers within a minute of the win. Mark Proctor, Craig Corish and Curtis Matthews, as we just saw, finished on the lead lap. Adrian Hatfield, Michael Walters and Michael Vester did get to the end. They were one let down. Clyde Comfer and Jack Holland did not. Just before we get into the interviews, of course, I'm going to spin the wheel for the random selected driver who is going to be winning a bit of track art from
Can you do
Mark
the wheel
Brown.
Sound?
That's as best as you're going to get, I'm afraid, from us here today. The driver who has been selected finishes 24th in that one. On the lead lap in the end, just about. Craig Corish is the winner of the track art for Oulton Park. So if he is listening, then make sure you get into contact with John so that can be sorted out. And congratulations to Craig Corish, a third winner of our track art for this season, this time around, of course, at Oulton Park. Let's chat to Mark Brown then, who finished second so narrowly in the opening race in that one, and then down in 18th in the second race. Welcome in, Mark. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the opening race first, though, and your great challenge to Scott McFall. Scott hasn't been challenged like that all season long in an opening race of the evening. You were able to put that challenge to him, but not quite get the win in the end. How did you feel at the end of the opening race, having come second?
Yeah, it was a good first race. Scott a good pace. I had a couple of looks into Hislops into the chicane there, but just couldn't get it done. It's very hard now. But I had a good run behind him, like even into Shell Oil there too. Seemed to get a good charge at him. That left me close enough then to go up over Hilltop into Hislops. So it was good. Like it was a great race. So I'm happy with that. Like it's just a pity he couldn't get the win. But Scott's fast. So second race into Hislops into the chicane, and sort of went for a gap that probably wasn't there. My own fault. So a bit stupid. Through the chicane too, I lost a bit there. Lost a couple of places. There was a spin on it, and I had to take the grass, and I lost the places I gained in the first lap or two. So then. I got a couple of places on Scott in the first couple of laps, but that spin at the chicane, and I had to take the grass. It just wasn't ideal, and then I lost 4 or 5 places. But I suppose I was just too eager to try and keep behind Scott and try and work our way through the pack. I think same thing again. Could have charged to the end now, but just unfortunate. So heck, we'll have to see now for next race, Snetterton. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It certainly is. I mean, what did you expect from this circuit in terms of the second race here today? Because it is really narrow. Were you expecting it to be very difficult to work your way through as a result?
I don't think so. Like I was on Wednesday there for a couple of laps in a practice. I knew I had the pace. The draft is really good here. It's very hard to bracket. So it is. But I was hoping and expecting to be in the fight at the top of it. I was hoping that Scott wouldn't get away, and it's good to see that it wasn't as usual 5, 6, 7, 8 second get away from everyone. So it's good to see that, like, and put a bit of pressure on him. It's the first time probably he's had a bit of pressure in a while. I know he was pushing hard now. I seen him using the whole of the track in places there, and I knew he was. I'd say he's sweating a wee bit, so it's good to see it. Like I think he enjoyed the race too. So yeah.
Hopefully.
All good.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, certainly. Is there anyone you'd like to go shout out to before we let you go?
Hey, just yourselves. It'll be great to see the replay again, and for the commentary, and for John and all the rest of the racers and stuff there. Don't know how good or bad the second race was, but we're getting there. So it's good to see the racing coming on. The the pack's strong, so it is. There's a lot of fast people now. It's good to see Dan Warren back again there too. So, got him to come back again for a couple of races. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do next week. Hopefully, Snetterton might be as good, or hopefully better only for the second race. I just need to calm the head and reset, and hope to get a bit of better run in the second race. There's no point in coming second on the first race and then throwing the second race away. So it's not good for points. So yeah, I just think I'm gonna have to settle down and just try my best.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of points, by the way, you have moved up to second tonight in the points, so still going well in that respect. Congratulations on finishing second tonight in the first race, especially Mark, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, and I hope we see chatting you next week again too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cheers.
See you next week, Mark Brown. Second place tonight in the opening race, and where did he finish? 18th or something in the second race. There it is, 18th place in the end. A good round of the championship, though, Biggles, I think it's fair to say here from Oulton Park. The narrowness of the circuit did put me with a little bit of fear that we wouldn't see very much overtaking. Absolutely not the case. The GR86 is delivering once again.
Oh, absolutely fantastic race. Didn't get a chance to even look at some of the chatter out there. And thank you for everybody, of course, for tuning in there and keeping us occupied as the drivers. Well, actually, a big shout out to everybody for tuning in. Of course, the drivers do love it when they come back and watch it and watch having everybody, family and friends and so cats and dogs and all that out there watching themselves throw it around Oulton Park.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Certainly. That's it for this broadcast. A big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in and, as you say, chattering away. One last one from Scott McFall, who said Rick Wishon had too many incidents at the end, so that's why he moved up to third from fourth. Did Scott? A bit of a shame for Wishon, to be honest, who did finish third on the road, but as Scott says, too many incidents in the end. That is it, though, from Oulton Park. We'll be back in 1 week's time for the Snetterton round of the championship. Same time, same place on the 24th of November. The JPB YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe for all the other racing that goes on between now and then. But for now, from myself, Ian Leary and Biggles alongside me, it's goodbye from Oulton Park. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Snetterton. Goodbye for now.